What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the latest bracketology update after 3 weeks into the college basketball season. Yes, we have just completed, I think, the third full week of college basketball. And here is the updated bracketology as of today, December 15th. It's getting close to midnight going into Wednesday, but making this video a little bit later than I wanted to, but here we go. This is the updated bracket. Some new teams on here, some notable teams that are new to this list. Oklahoma State, I thought they were not going to be in the tournament next year. Thought they were serving a postseason ban, but I'm assuming they got an appeal or something like that. Missouri moved up to a 7th seed in the bottom right. You also have Clemson moved up to a 7th seed. Iowa is now the new number 1 seed, being the worst number 1 seed, or designated as, and Kansas being the designated worst number 2 seed in the top left. So, starting to see some interesting play out here on this. Let's make our selections. Let's go through this quickly. Gonzaga over the playing game here in the top left. Florida versus Syracuse. Forgot to change that to Syracuse. Florida, great news from them with Keyontae Johnson, who had a scary situation when she collapsed on the court back on Saturday against Florida State. Florida, I think, will play with some emotion. I haven't really been into Syracuse that much this year. They lost to Rutgers. Florida will take them in the 8-9 matchup. Michigan, Furman. Furman lost to Cincinnati. Not really liking them too much. Michigan's a solid team. They got size. They could shoot the ball well. Texas Tech, Vermont. Texas Tech not doing the best this year. I mean, they've been winning some games lately, but that matchup against Houston worries me just a little bit. This team, I think they'll figure it out. They do have problems at times, though, with scoring. Their three-point shooting, especially, is not very good at times. Vermont is sneaky. You got to watch out for them. Louisville, Purdue. Louisville is not bad. They beat Western Kentucky. Purdue, not the team they had a couple years ago. Of course, I talked about in the last video their center being good, but they have a young team. Illinois, Murray State. Illinois lost to Missouri back on Saturday, but I still have faith in Illinois a little bit. Oregon, UConn. Seems like Excel knows I'm not going to pick Oregon because I've been not too hype on them this year. They lost to Oregon. Pardon me, excuse me. They lost to Missouri. Actually, Oregon did. And Oregon's going to face San Francisco this Thursday. San Francisco upset of Virginia a couple weeks ago. They have been looking decent this year. Pretty good, I should say. Kansas versus UC Santa Barbara. Kansas should have not beaten Creighton. That BS foul that was called in favor of Marcus Garrett should have been on Marcus Garrett. He charged, no questions asked. It's just reality. Kansas should have lost that game. Creighton had it. Gonzaga, Florida to the Sweet 16. We're going to go with Gonzaga there. Great offensive scheme. Transitioning is great with this team. They can even play some defense if that comes down to it. Michigan, Texas Tech. Texas Tech can't shoot the three very well. When they got into that rut with Houston, they just kept trying to quickly really drive down the court. And I understand, you really want to try to get those quick points, try to get somewhere with it. You don't want to waste time, but that does not often lead to the best results. I'm going to take Michigan in this case in a slight upset in what should probably be a closer game. If we were to get this matchup in the tournament, it'd be a rematch of the Sweet 16 a year and a half ago. Louisville, Illinois. Louisville can make a dent, but Illinois, I think, should be able to fight through it. UConn, Kansas. Tough game here. UConn can knock Kansas out, but I'll give Kansas a little bit of a push. Screw it. Even though I'm not super high on them this year. Still not. Gonzaga, Michigan. Good game. Could be a little bit close. Could be closer, I should say, but Gonzaga has speed. They got a really strong offense. They're just a very tough team. This is I'm on Mark Few's best teams that he's had. Illinois, Kansas. I'm going to give the edge to Illinois. I still think, like I said, they can do it. There's still a lot of season left to be played. Can't count them out yet. Gonzaga, Illinois. I do have to go with Gonzaga in the Final Four. Let's see who's going to meet with Gonzaga in the Final Four. Iowa versus Stephen F. Austin. I think we already know who's going to win there. Although Stephen F. Austin, we know, is a notorious team for upsets. St. Louis Xavier. Tough game here, but Xavier has been doing well. They're 7-0. They beat Oklahoma in convincing fashion. St. Louis knocked off LSU. Really tough game here. I'm going to go with Xavier in the slight 9-8 upset, but that is a definite coin flip. Duke, Loyola, Chicago. Duke recently came out with the news that Jalen Johnson's going to be injured and he'll be out. I think indefinitely. This is going to hurt Duke. I still think they can beat Loyola, Chicago, though. Creighton, Winthrop. Creighton, bad loss to Marquette. Don't know what happened there. Marcus Zagorowski only scored 8 points. I don't know. But I understand that there's going to be bad performances here and there. It's going to happen at some points. But that was not a good loss for Creighton at all. Marquette, they should have beaten Marquette. They had them at the half, but then Marquette just kind of stormed in the second half. Ohio State versus USC, Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech lost to Penn State, who I think is an okay team. I'm not the biggest on Penn State right now. Still, even though they almost beat Michigan, I'm gonna take USC to not only beat Virginia Tech, but to upset Ohio State. I think in the last 4 of the last 5 tournaments, of course, excluding 2020's tournament, of course, got canceled, of course, but I think in the last 4 or 5 tournaments, not only has a winner from the playing game also won a first round game in the tournament itself and gone to the round of 32, and USC could make it 5-6 or someone. I feel like it's going to happen this year, this tournament, honestly. I could just tell a lot of upsets are going to happen probably. Tennessee nearly lost to Colorado, did not do much better against Cincinnati. They only won by 11. Tennessee's kind of, well, I know they got a later start to the year. We'll see how they kind of iron things out, but I'm not super impressed with them. They've been pushed as supposed to be one of the best teams in the nation. They're not quite proving it right now. Clemson, Stanford. Clemson's playing some great basketball. They've been quickly climbing the ranks. I think they're in AP 25 now. I think they're ranked 23rd or 24th. They beat Maryland. Overrated, I would say that. People keep pushing Maryland for some reason. I don't know why. West Virginia will beat Toledo. Iowa, Xavier. Iowa will beat Xavier up. Duke and Creighton. Duke, too young of a team, and the injuries are going to cost them potentially for a little bit. USC and Tennessee, tough game here. You have Evan Mobley on USC. USC, I believe they lost to UConn. Very tough, gritty game. I'm going to take USC to upset Tennessee. Might as well. Clemson, West Virginia. West Virginia gets by Clemson. Iowa, Creighton. Good game here, but I think Iowa would be too much now. I've noticed with Iowa versus North Carolina double teamed Luka Garza, but that left like Jordan Bohannon open more and stuff, more open room for 3-pointers. They shot the 3 ball so well that night. I mean, they were just literally on fire. Luka Garza, though, got off a slow start in the game, came back, eventually scored some points. West Virginia versus USC. I do have to take the Mountaineers, and I'm going to take them to the Final Four. I think their defense will catch up to. I think Iowa is stifled here in this game up a little bit, just to the point where they can't come back. So West Virginia versus Gonzaga, which would be a rematch of the Jimmy V Classic from December 2nd. Region 2 to the top right, here we go. Baylor versus the playing game. Baylor wins. Let's face it, they're going to kill whoever they play, figuratively speaking. Arizona State, LSU. Arizona State got upset by San Diego State. Not quite looking like the team that they were projected to be. Still hanging in there. But LSU not doing much better either. San Diego State, Western Kentucky. San Diego State, very good team. Even without Malachi Flynn now, this team still has it. Their defense is really good, and they can score. This is a very dangerous team. This is going to be one of those teams you have to watch carefully because they might go farther than we think. Western Kentucky, tough. They didn't do very well against Louisville. They did do very well in the Baton Rouge Crossover Classic, but I have to take San Diego State. They just have better quality wins right now. Western Kentucky, I don't know, kind of losing trust in them a little bit. Virginia, New Mexico State. I'm going to go with the 13-4 upset. New Mexico State has been a popular upset pick in the last few years. I have not liked Virginia lately. Virginia, like I said, almost lost to Kent State in overtime. Yeah, imagine if Virginia would have lost that game. That would have been disastrous. That would have been even worse than losing to San Francisco, I think, personally. But IU versus North Carolina State. NC State hasn't really won any big games yet. IU had a tough fight against Florida State. Could have gone either way in that game. Wisconsin, Georgia State. Wisconsin lost to Marquette, came back and beat Rhode Island. Wisconsin, I feel like they're going to be one of those teams that's like hard to follow just a little bit this year. UCLA, Oklahoma State. Haven't liked UCLA much this year. They have been struggling. Oklahoma State, I think, will steal that one with Cade Cunningham. They beat Wichita State at the buzzer, the 3. Houston, very good team. Loving this Houston team. Baylor, Arizona State. Going to take Baylor. San Diego State, New Mexico State. We're going to take San Diego State to the Sweet 16. IU, Wisconsin. I smell upset alert here, but I think Wisconsin, overall, as a collective effort, inks it out. IU can win this game, no question about it. Trace Jackson Davis has been averaging 21 points a game. He is definitely a big factor with this team. Oklahoma State, Houston. Houston will win. I could see it being closer, but Houston has been locked in this season. So, who's going to the Elite Eight? Baylor, San Diego State. Very good game here, but Baylor has been playing so well. You know, I really just them watching them against Illinois. They looked like a national champion team, national champion caliber team. San Diego State will give them a fight, no question about it. Wisconsin, Houston. Whoops, nope. Houston and Baylor. I know I took Houston the last time. This time, I'll take Baylor for the Final Four. Who's going to face them? Let's find out. Villanova versus St. Peter's. We're going to go with Villanova. Villanova had a scare affair against Virginia Tech. Then they barely beat Texas. They've been in some closer games. Scare me just a little bit. Arkansas, Richmond. I don't know why Arkansas is even an 8th seed. They haven't even beat anyone good yet. No quality wins yet. Richmond, I know they got stifled against West Virginia, but this is still a team you should not push over. One thing they do lack is size a little bit. Rutgers versus Marquette, Alabama. I'm going to go with Marquette to not only beat Alabama, to beat Rutgers. I was expecting Marquette to be a higher seed with this one, but Joe Lunardi was doing this right around the time Marquette beat Creighton, so it was kind of one of those doing it as if pretty much doing it, I think, right before the game started. So that's why Marquette isn't as high of a seed. Marquette, I think, should be about a 9-ish, back to a 9, 8 maybe, if they continue to do good for the next couple days or games or so until the next one's released. But Rutgers beat Maryland. Rutgers looked a little slow in that game. Well, it was a little bit slow, I should say. Marquette has been sneaky. Florida State, South Dakota State. Florida State's playing great ball. Scotty Barnes is a great player. Young talent is really shining in Florida State. One problem I have is Koprivica foul trouble. He's had some foul trouble. He's got to limit that. North Carolina, Maryland. Why are some people even hyping Maryland up? They have nothing to offer for me. North Carolina. I don't think Maryland should even be on this bracket, in my opinion. North Carolina they kept themselves in it for a while there against Iowa. They wouldn't give up. North Carolina's going to be a tough out later in the year. Texas Liberty. Texas has been looking great. You know, Shaka Smart. I listened to the podcast with him and Andy Katz's podcast. Haven't really heard Shaka Smart talk until that point last Tuesday. I gotta say, I like Shaka Smart. Pretty cool guy. His hair growing out now. Missouri, Oklahoma. I was wondering where Oklahoma was in this bracketology. Missouri is on fire. I'm going to take them. Missouri looks like a dangerous team right now. Michigan State, Hofstra. I saw a stat about Michigan State. This is their best start since 2015. Guess what happened in that season? They were a 2 seed in this exact same region, and guess what? They got upset by Middle Tennessee. Michigan State's been in some close games. I don't entirely trust them right now. Villanova, Richmond, upset possibly here, but I gotta go with Villanova. Villanova's going to push it. They have the tournament experience. Richmond does not. Although they made, I think, the very first ever 15-2 upset back in '91 at Syracuse. Marquette, Florida State, I don't think it's even close. I think Florida State kind of shuts them down. North Carolina, Texas would be a rematch, the Maui Invitational, which Texas won on an incredible two-pointer at the last second. I say Texas beats them again. I think it'll be just as close as last time. And I'm going to go with Missouri beating Michigan State. Missouri knows to beat teams. They just knocked off Illinois. I know the game was in Missouri, but still. Missouri knows how to play the ball right now. They've been balling out. Villanova, Florida State. This is a risky pick, but I'm going to go with Florida State. I think this team, if they can really knock out the foul trouble a little bit, and they play that defense they've been playing, and they can score more at times too, that they already have been, shoot the three a little bit better, that's a very dangerous team. Watch out for the Seminoles this year. Texas, Missouri, what a phenomenal game this would be. I think Texas just barely gets by with their defense. And then I'm going to put Texas in the Final Four. Texas looks like a Final Four team. A lot of people would have probably not thought that because, especially their fans, because Texas has been kind of letting people down the last few years. Shaka Smart, of course, from VCU, has quite a bit of success from there. Took them to the Final Four in 2011. All right, let's figure out our national championship game. Gonzaga, West Virginia. This would be another physical, higher scoring game. I think in this case, West Virginia. I'm going to take West Virginia. I got to do it. Baylor versus Texas. I'm going to go with Baylor. Baylor versus West Virginia. This would be a physical game if we got this fight and if we got this national championship. But I am going to take Baylor to win the national championship. That's it for you guys. Stay tuned for the next bracketology update next Tuesday-ish. Also, in a couple days, I'm looking to make a video on my first NFL playoff predictions. You do not want to miss that. I'm going to have something on that here in a couple days. Talk to you guys again later. Hope you guys enjoy this. Please like and subscribe. Comment down below if you agree or disagree. Let's have a conversation about it. Love talking sports with you guys. I'll talk to you guys again later.